The power principles resonate with me. I think that it's a way to simplify and put into an acronym or a very succinct set of words something that I think is very important in everything you do. Personal, career, fun, it's important. And hopefully there's fun in career and personal, right? There's a little triangle there. In terms of prioritizing, that has been my biggest challenge, I think. It's, for me, I feel like it's a recurring theme in the sense that I get so excited about all the things that need to be done that it's really hard to say, this is number one, this is number two, versus 3 and 4 and 5, right? I kind of want to get everything done yesterday or now. And because there's such a sense of urgency, I feel a sense of urgency, especially in what I'm doing now, because it can't be another 18 years before the New America Alliance achieves what it has achieved the past 18 years, right? So I feel a sense of urgency, and sometimes if you don't have the discipline to prioritize things and even to a sense write them down or put them on a cork board or whatever it is, or a dry erase board that you're seeing every day, right? Some people do very well with to-do lists. I'm the kind of person that it needs to be written on the wall, and I need to see it whenever I'm working. To remind myself, this is what we decided is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because it's very easy for me to say, let's just jump around, and do what we want to do, everything now. In terms of obligations, I never feel like I'm meeting all of my obligations, right? And in terms of obligations, I'm not talking about the responsibilities that are listed in your job description, right? I'm always, I hold myself to a very high standard. I hold others to a very high standard too, especially as it pertains to integrity and really doing justice to the trust that you get from others and your peers and your bosses, the people who work for you. But I never feel like I'm getting everything done, right? And doing everything I wanted to do for everyone around me. So the obligations part is a very hard one for me, especially now in this organization that I'm in, because we're an advocacy organization and we're funded by memberships, and I feel very responsible to our members. And there's about 70 of them, right? And so if I get a call or an email, I feel like I have to respond right away because I'm there at their service, in a sense, right? And I'm really there to support them and their communities and their businesses to continue to essentially help them grow their businesses. And so that's a hard one, right? In the sense of balancing it, right? Do I work until 2 in the morning and respond to all the emails that I have in my inbox, or return all the calls and voicemails that I have on my phone, or do I not, right? And so I think it comes back to cutting some slack for myself sometimes, right? I almost say, okay, well, that's not necessarily an obligation. Maybe it's perceived obligation on my part. But that's a big, big challenge for me. And it has been always. I always feel very responsible. I'm also very loyal. So if I feel like I'm not doing enough for the person that I'm working for, I feel very stressed out about it and anxious. It's an anxiety-inducing thing for me, right? When I don't feel like I'm meeting my obligations. But I can tell you, and I also interpret obligations as, how should I say, your to-do list in a sense, and I'm never done with it. And I don't think you ever should be. I don't think, I think once you're done with your to-do list and you're just sitting twiddling your thumbs, you're wasting your time. In terms of energy, I actually focus on energizing. I think that life is too short to not spend it doing the things that you love and that energize you. And I'm very lucky now to be in a role that energizes me, because every day I'm learning new statistics, I'm reading new studies, I'm speaking to new people, which I love doing. I love meeting new people. And also being surrounded by entrepreneurs and business owners who have worked so hard to get to where they are, or academics who have published cutting-edge research on different topics, right? It doesn't have to just be on diversity and inclusion. It can be on the best investment strategies, or something even more technical than that. And so being in a position where I'm constantly learning and meeting other people, but also feeling like I'm achieving something on a day-to-day basis, even if I'm not meeting all my obligations, right? In a sense, at least in my mind, is very, very, very energizing. Now, outside of that, I think you also have to take time away from what you do for your 9 to 5, although this is not a 9 to 5 job. You have to take time away from what you do on a day-to-day basis for work. Right? I think it's important for me personally, I spend as much time as possible with my family, who is between Puerto Rico and Miami and upstate New York. Back to my obligations, I never feel like I'm spending enough time with them. Right? I could spend a month with them and I come back to New York or wherever it is that I'm traveling to, and I say I should have spent a month and 2 days. So in terms of re-energizing, I think that it's a beautiful thing to be in a role where you feel pumped up and stoked by the people that you're talking with on a daily basis and what you're learning. But I also think it's important to recharge in other ways. It also allows your creative juices to flow when you're not surrounded by the same topics, right? And so in terms of energy, several years ago, I was working at Mariner Investment Group, and I was in the process of managing this team that I loved managing. And I said to myself, I'm too much in this hamster wheel of managing the team and really spending all my time at the office and stressing out about work. I need to stress out about other things. And so I decided I was going to culinary school. And not just a 2 or 3 month program. I said, I want to become a chef. So I went to the French Culinary Institute in Soho, and I got permission to leave the office at 5, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I would change out of my work dress, my suit, whatever I was wearing that day. Actually, I would leave the office at 5. I would take the number 6 down to Soho. I would open my locker, change out of my suit into my chef whites, and cook from 5:45 to 11, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And so many people said, you're nuts. How are you working a full-time job and going to school for so many hours a week in a kitchen, in a hot restaurant kitchen? And I said, this is the most energizing thing I've done because it's so different. I'm surrounded by people who have completely different backgrounds. They don't work in financial services at all. And they are way better than me at what I'm doing. And so I'm constantly learning, right? And that was by far the most exhausting year of my life because it was a year-long program. But it was also the most energizing. So energizing doesn't necessarily have to be about going on vacation or sleeping 8 hours a day. I think it's about doing things that get you going.